Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well and welcome to the platform of CodeChef. Okay, so today we're going to be solving the problem C equals substrings easy version. The difficulty level for this problem is simple and the prerequisites require our basic string operations. So this is your educator Ansh and I hope you like my video. Let's proceed to the problem statement. Now let us try to understand the problem statement. You are given two strings A and B of lengths n and m respectively. Find the maximum length of substring of A that is also present in B. Let this maximum length be k. Also find all the substrings of length k which is present in both A and B and print the number of times each substring is occurring in B. Okay, so basically what the question is saying, firstly we have to find what is the maximum length substring k that is present in A and present in B as well. So basically maximum substring of A which is present in B as well, and let this substring be of length k. So if there are multiple substrings of length k which are present in A and B as well, then we have to print that particular substring and how many times each of the substring is occurring. So yeah, that is what the question is saying. Now let me show you using the sample test cases. So let this be a particular substring. So this is one string and the second string. So here I'll show you that my pk is one of the substrings. And if you can see, any other substrings except pk won't occur in the other string. So my pk is the two length substring which occurs one time. So pk is common in both of them and pk is the maximum length substring that can be obtained, and hence the answer is 2 because 2 length substring, and then I have to print pk denoting that pk is one of the strings that is common in both of them and pk is occurring only one time in string b. So one time for that particular case. Similarly, let's say the second case, to have a better understanding, I have a string q only, right? So for my string q, it is of length 1. So now the question is saying that how many substrings, like for second case, my q is of length 1. So as you can see, q is occurring here and q is occurring here. So maximum length that is common in both of them is q itself, which is nothing but length 1. Then how many times q is occurring? 1 and 2. And hence I have to print that q is occurring 2 times, which is common in both of them. In my third case of Rxsj, as you can see, what is the common substring that is occurring in both of them? As you can see, R is occurring here, here one time, then X is occurring here one time, right, in this particular case. Then my S is occurring here one time and my j is occurring here one time. So basically each and every substring, that is the substring of length 1 is the highest length substring that is common in both of these strings, and out of all the substrings of length 1 I have my 4 strings which is of j, r, s and x. All the strings are of length 1 and j occur one time in my string B, my R occurs one times in the string B, S and X also occurs one time in the string B. And in my next case of this particular case, there is no substring that is common in the both of them. So the answer for this case is 0. So yeah, this is what the problem statement is asking. Now, let us have a look at the constraints. So the constraints of the problem are quite small. Just n and m are very small up till 20. So we can just generate all the particular substrings and brute force our entire algorithm. So the idea of solving this problem is simple, that what you can do, firstly, to approach this problem, you can just keep a loop from I to n. You can keep a loop from j to where j is starting from I and again my j to n or n plus 1 or any particular ending, so my j to n. And what we can do is we can just generate all the substrings using this case. So my substring will be generated nothing but the value from ai till aj, right? So that particular thing will be denoted by my substring. Now what we can do after we generated all the particular substring, so say after generating each and every substring to this algorithm, say this is my substring S, we can check whether my fs lies in my substring B or my string B. So if S lies in the string B, that means this particular S is common in both of the strings. Now I have to check the maximum length of this particular string. So what we'll do is we'll keep a maximum length variable which will initialize initially as 0. If any of the string is common, then we can update my maximum length to be equal to maximum of its current value, which is maximum of maximum length, comma, the value or the updated value, which is length of string. And this is how we can simply get the maximum value. And while we satisfy this condition, we can also store this particular value. So say we store this value in a vector. So we append the value of string in our vector. Now what we can do is, finally once we compute it through all the string, I know that my maximum length of string will be, like, I have the value for the maximum length of string. So I can simply print this value of k, right? And after that what I can do is, since I'm storing all the strings in the vector, I can do is I can traverse in the vector. So I can traverse in my vector for I in v, and what I can do is, I know that this string is going to occur because it satisfied this condition over here. So I can just simply count the occurrence. So I have to just count the value of I in B, how many times is occurring. So firstly this, and I have to check one more condition, that if my length of I is equals to the maximum length that we obtained, right? So the idea is quite simple: generate all the substrings and update the maximum length according to the substrings. Then what you can do is, you can keep on appending or storing those values. Then what you do is, whatever values you store, you traverse in those values and you check whether it is equal to my maximum length or not. If it is equal to my maximum length, then I count the number of occurrences it occurs in my B string, and I can simply print it according to this way. So pk is occurring in B string and it is occurring one time. So this is the way we can just simply generate our code for the following problem. Now let's see how we can exactly code this particular problem. Okay, now let us try to understand the code for the following problem. So firstly, we take my input for the test cases. For each of my test case, I take input for the length of the strings and the value of that string. So basically, this is nothing, a and b is nothing but my strings, and m and n are nothing but the values, or the n comma m, or the length of the strings, right? Now initialize my max length as 0 initially, and then initialize my vector as strings, that is going to store the value of strings that are common in my a and b both. Then I simply wrote the code to generate all the substring, and it could be simply generated by using simple string functions such as string slicing, or in C++ you can use a.substring to generate that particular string. So if this particular string is in my B, so we check for that, and then we check whether the length is greater than equal to max length. So if it is greater than equal to max length, I update the max length as I discussed in the approach section, and I store the values, right? And then what I do is I generate all the unique values using the set. So basically what the set does is, I can just simply generate the unique values so that we do not traverse the values again and again. And then I sort the values, because in the final answer I have to print the values in the lexicographically order. So basically this R, J, S, X, if there are multiple strings, they have to print in the sorted order. So I have to sort the array, right? Then I simply print my max length, because that is the maximum length which is common in all of those. If there is no such condition satisfied, then my max length is 0, right? According to the question. So yeah, I print my max length and I traverse in my unique values, and then I check which of the string is equal to the maximum length. And yes, once I find that string, I print that string directly, and I find the number of occurrences of that string in my B. So yeah, this is what the question is asking. Now let us run a code on the sample test cases to check whether everything works correctly or not. So as you can see, we got the expected answer for the sample test cases. Now let us submit our code on the actual test cases to see whether this works correctly or not. Okay, so as you can see, we got the correct answer for the following problem, and yes, this becomes a valid approach to solve this problem. So yeah, now what type of mistakes people could make in this particular problem? So here the constraints were small, so you could just brute force everything, and using this basic string functions, you could just generate all the substrings and simply code this particular logic, right? So I don't think there's some kind of tricky implementation or any such thing in this particular problem. So if the fundamentals and the logic is clear, I don't think anywhere else in this people there is less chances of making this mistakes in this particular problem. Yeah, this is the learning you get from my video. I hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.